Diego Maradona's handball goal against England will be an unforgettable part of football history forever. It's undeniable that this was an incredibly dishonest goal. History has shown that in order to win, football players sometimes do not shy away from dirty play. Hello friends, this is varproductions, and today in the video I'll tell you about the most dishonest and disgusting goals in football which were scored against fair play rules. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. I hope you'll enjoy the video. In May 2017, PSG's Italian midfielder Marco Verratti went against fair play. In the game with SC Bastia, Verratti saw that during a pause, the opponent's goalkeeper left the goal to inquire about the well-being of his teammate Blaise Matuidi. Taking advantage of that moment, PSG's player sent the ball into Bastia's net, after which he was condemned by not only the opposing team's players, but also by his own fans. Factually, the goal was scored in accordance with football rules, therefore there was no punishment for this sneaky move, but the move itself was disgusting. The Italian could clearly see that the goalkeeper was not in the goal and was trying to help his teammate, but still made a shot on the goal. The game ended with a 5-0 victory for PSG. In the game of the third German league, a disgusting moment occurred. In the 57th minute, when the score was 2-0 with SV Meppen ahead, FC Carl Zeiss's player got an injury on their half of the field. The player couldn't get up from the ground, and SV Meppen's player wanted to kindly stop the game, and he signaled it to Carl Zeiss's midfielder Zoran Eisman, but the midfielder sneakily stole the ball from the opponent, accelerated in the empty space in the center of the field, and scored a goal. Meppen's players immediately rushed after Eisman, who was just running back to his side of the field. The goal was counted by the referee, and Carl Zeiss was then down by only one goal. Eisman tried to justify his actions by saying that he did not see his teammate lying on the ground. But after scoring these kind of unfair goals, the guilty team usually lets the opponent score one back, but it didn't happen this time. And what's even worse and more unfair, the game ended 2-2. In 2014, in the Youth Asian Championship, an unfair incident occurred. At the end of the game, a player of the Syrian national team passed the ball to the South Korean goalkeeper as a part of fair play, because earlier the South Korean side had kicked the ball out because of a player's injury. The players of both teams led the ball to calmly roll to the goalkeeper when the Syrian striker Mardik Mardikian all of a sudden accelerated from behind the defenders, ran past the goalkeeper and grossly sent the ball into the empty net, after which he also celebrated the goal in such a way as if he had scored in the World Cup final. South Korea's goalie was obviously perplexed and couldn't understand what just happened. After their striker's dirty move, the Syrian players didn't even let South Koreans score a goal back, as most teams usually do according to fair play. So I would blame the whole Syrian team. The happy ending is that everything happened on the 6th minute of the stoppage time, and the game ended with a 2-1 victory for South Korea. In 2013, a controversial goal was scored in the Championship of Peru. In the 61st minute, when the score was 2-1 with Deportivo Universidad ahead, the ball bounced off to the Union's goalkeeper Juan Flores. The keeper calmly took the ball into his hands, after which he fell on the ground and collapsed with heat exhaustion. As soon as the goalie let the ball out of his hands, his teammate tried to kick it out so that the keeper could be provided with medical assistance. But the ball ricocheted off Deportivo Universidad striker Piero Alva and landed in the net. It seems like the striker didn't think it was unsportsmanlike at all, because he started arguing with the opposing team's players right after. And as soon as the keeper felt better, he immediately began sorting out the things with the Universidad striker too. The goal, by the way, was counted right away by the referee. As soon as the ball ended up in the net, he pointed to the center of the field. Another ugly episode occurred in 2014 in the final of the Venezuelan Cup. In the 5th minute of the game, the goalkeeper of AC Mineros got injured and began signaling that to Zamora FC's striker Juan Falcon. But the striker ignored the goalie's gestures and sneakily sent the ball into the net. The players of Mineros were so angry by that dirty move that they rushed after the striker, and moments later a massive brawl began on the field among the players of both teams. All that time the goalkeeper was still holding onto his injured muscle. As a result, he couldn't continue playing and was substituted out. The goal was counted and Mineros lost the final game of the cup. In the top leagues, it often happens when a player is lying on the ground, the players of the opposing team do not stop the game pretending as if they hadn't noticed anything. In most cases, situations like this don't end up with a goal, but in the game between Inter and Lazio, such a goal was scored on the 88th minute of the game. When the score was 1-1, the Lazio players rushed on a counter-attack and pretended as if they hadn't seen Inter's lateral Di Marco lying on the ground. Because of the injured defender, there was a gap in Inter's defense and the Lazio players took advantage of it, eventually scoring the second goal into the guest's net. If we have a look at the replay, we will see that Di Marco got injured long before the Eagles' counter-attack, and Lazio's player intentionally stopped Di Marco with a harsh play. A serious brawl immediately broke out on the field because of that incident. Of course, according to football rules, Lazio players were not obliged to stop the game, but this was a clear demonstration going against fair play. Who knows, maybe they will find themselves in a similar situation and somebody will do the same thing back to them. The Romanian Championship game between CS Mioveni and CFR Cluj ended in a crazy drama. In the 62nd minute, when Mioveni was leading 3-0, the opposing team was awarded a penalty kick, which, by the way, was a debatable call. CFR Cluj's player kind of dived. The player scored, making the score 3-1, and after 15 minutes the score was already 3-2. On the 85th minute, Mioveni's player got hit in the face and was lying on the ground. His teammate kicked the ball out like it happens in these kind of situations. After the player received medical assistance, the players of CFR Cluj threw the ball into play. They kicked it towards Mioveni's goal, seemingly returning it back. But Cluj's strikers, instead of leaving the ball to the opponent's goalkeeper, continued playing and eventually scored the third goal in the game, coming back from being down 3-0. Even on the replay, it is obvious that Mioveni's players were waiting for Cluj to give the ball back to them and didn't expect that. And the most heartbreaking thing is that Cluj's players scored the fourth goal on the 93rd minute and won the game 4-3. Mioveni's players were crying and their fans started throwing snowballs at the players of the guest team after the whistle. Another debatable move was committed by Lokeren player Marko Miric. On the 69th minute, the guest goalkeeper collided with his own defender, who immediately ended up on the ground and couldn't get up. The goalkeeper continued playing holding his wrist. The opposing team did not pay attention to this and continued playing. The ball appeared with Marko Miric, who worked the ball and sent it into the net. Only after that, the goalkeeper fell down on the ground too, next to his defender. Marko just celebrated the goal and ran back to his side of the field. It turned out that the defender's injury was quite serious because he had to leave the field shortly after. The game continued and the goal was counted. For Miric's defense, we can only say that from the moment the defender fell down, he was looking at other direction, and when he received the ball, he was concentrated on the goal. So there is a possibility that he really didn't notice the defender lying on the ground. Another gross violation of fair play happened in 2019 in a game between Plymouth and Scunthorpe United. In one moment of the game, Plymouth's goalkeeper Matt Macy got injured and started showing it with a gesture to the referee and the opposing team. He tried to send the ball out so that he could receive medical assistance, but Scunthorpe's cunning player intercepted the ball near the sideline and made a shot towards the opponent's goal. What do you think? What happened next? Of course, a brawl among the players. In the end, the goal was counted and the goalkeeper was able to leave the field only with the help of the medical staff. By the way, after the game, even Scunthorpe's president had to apologize for his players' behavior. As a bonus, I want to show you how players should usually act during these kind of situations. In 2016, a similar incident occurred in Italian Serie D. The player of Monticelli got an injury and the player of San Nicolo kicked the ball out. After the player felt better and was able to play, the game continued. San Nicolo's players returned the ball to the home team, but Michael Terriani succumbed to the temptation when he appeared one-on-one with Monticelli's goalkeeper and rolled the ball into the host's net. Even the striker's teammates didn't want to celebrate such an ugly goal with him. After the referee restarted the game, all the players of San Nicolo stepped aside, letting Monticelli's striker score a goal back. Well, this would be called fair play. Victory at any cost is not always good. The player who scores an unfair goal, of course, can help his team win the game, but as a result he will receive a ton of criticism, which can morally knock him out in the future and affect his results. Nevertheless, the last scenario showed that there is always room for fair play in football. It is good to have a competitive spirit, but not at the expense of fair play. There is no excuse to dirty play without making up for it afterwards. In the previous video, I asked you to guess these 3 players by their childhood photos. I'm sure many of you were able to recognize them. Here is a new question for you. Now try to guess these 4 players by their cartoon selves. I'm sure it's gonna be easy for you. I believe in you. Friends, if you have watched this video up to this point, then you probably liked it. And therefore, I want to ask you to subscribe to the channel and to make sure to turn on the bell. It will help to promote the channel and you'll be the first to receive notifications. This is where I say goodbye to you. Feel free to watch the videos that will appear on the screen in a few seconds.